everyone. Happy Earth Day. It's April 22nd. It's bright and sunny here in Minnesota, which I'm very grateful for. I can't wait to get outside and get some sun on my face. It's also Wednesday, which that means it's telehealth and telemed day. We have Dr. Jess Trimble back from We Love Telemed, and she has an interesting news tip today, I gotta say. That reeks a high 10 on interesting news tips. So I think you guys will be interested in that. And then she's just gonna go right into some telehealth news. And then we'll be back at the end together and we'll be talking about marketing yourself. So Jess, why don't you take it away?
Will do. Thank you very much. We also have sunshine in Colorado today. It is lovely. All 14 inches of the snow we got last week have melted. So the news of the day is not a happy one, I guess. It's a little morbid, but I found it really interesting as we as veterinary professionals are having to sort of adapt ourselves during this time. One of the ways that veterinary staff is being asked to adapt is to volunteer for mortuary technician positions in New York. So the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner particularly wanted veterinary staff because of our comfort and familiarity with the deceased and the bereaved. We deal with it every day. And part of me is sort of honored that our professionals looked upon as one that can handle these really difficult situations. The other part of me is just rolling my eyes because, veterinarians have medical skills that are obviously a little higher above a mortuary technician and bagging bodies and moving bodies. But at the same time, I found this interesting because, one, it speaks to the seriousness of what's happening. If veterinarians are actually asked to volunteer for positions like this, it tells us that, boy, they're really being hit hard, which is very disheartening to me. But on the other hand, it also, as I was exploring through this, led me to understand that this is actually a position that many veterinary staff go into when they burn out of being a veterinarian. So there was some conversation around this news piece saying, hey, I've actually been doing this position for a while and it's not nearly as bad as you think, and it's a great public service. And so for me, the big learning from this one is that they're asking us to volunteer, but this is actually an alternative career path for many veterinary staff that I had no idea about. So kind of an interesting little news bit there, and I certainly learned something from it as well. We'll move on to the tip of the day, which is a little bit happier. So part of my previous position within my previous job was to analyze the data that we were pulling from our own telehealth interactions so that we could more efficiently run our telehealth program and ensure the happiness of our employees. And so if you have access to the data, this is a really, really great time to look over that if you have been utilizing telehealth in your practice. If you don't have a platform that provides you data, sitting down for half a day and just going through and manually pulling out some certain data points can really prove to be incredibly valuable to you as you continue to build this out. And so at this point, you should have sort of the early learnings from introducing telehealth into your practice. And you should be able to know what kind of things your clients are asking you for, what time of day or day of the week your clients are looking for the most help. If you're not doing it, I would really advise that you send out client satisfaction surveys after those interactions, and then looking at the outcome of every interaction. Within my company, we found that our clients that used telehealth would spend, on average, I want to say it was like 10% more than those clients who didn't use telehealth, and they actually scheduled far more appointments than our clients who did not use telehealth. And so finding that out on your own, looking through your own data to figure that out, will really help you in the long run. So we found too that a lot of our clients, while we thought that they would want mostly after hours and weekend help, they actually had the most questions between about 6:30 and 10 a.m. and then again about 4 to 8 p.m. And so it was that pre-work and after work period. And so while we, for a while, were looking to hire someone to cover overnight services for this, we found that it actually wasn't really warranted, it wasn't desired enough by our clients to provide that service. And none of them ever complained that we didn't have it either, because we were there when they needed us early in the morning and in the afternoon. So we would have completely staffed our entire telehealth service wrong had we not looked at that data. And I fear a lot of veterinarians just sort of go on gut and don't actually take time to set back and actually look at what's coming out of the service you're providing. And that way too, if you've got one of those, practice managers or somebody who still staunchly refuses to believe in the benefits of telehealth, this is a great time to look and see those outcomes so you can show that it is actually working in your practice. And if it's not, you'll know what to tweak to make it go better for the future. So that's all I've got for today.
That's good. But, we're kind of in, I keep saying, this grind of endurance. We were even talking about here, it seems like in a weird way, things have slowed down but are still moving fast. So it's a good time during those moments to analyze data, take a break, figure out your protocols, like you said in the past, get systems in place, because typically lulls don't last forever. They go up and down in waves. And if we're in the bottom of a trough, then we're going to get really busy again. And it might happen with the flip of a switch, right?
Absolutely. I think too, we're in this period now where there's enough discussion and actually states that are starting to lift restrictions and reopen things. And so what we were looking at before, which was all of these states changing VCPR laws and trying to accommodate, I think we're done seeing those changes. And instead we're going to shift more into the changes of how do you safely reopen your practice, things like that. And so we are sort of seeing a shift in mindset there. But you're right, I feel like we're a little bit in a lull. We can't open yet, but things aren't quite crazy yet. And so, yeah, it's the perfect time to analyze what you've been doing and fix it before it starts to get crazy again.
And probably decide too what you're going to use moving forward. Like what has worked. Like, okay, this really worked for us and we really liked this, and telehealth fit really well into this part of our protocols and process. So we're going to keep that, right? And then figuring that out and integrating it, because we don't really know if this thing's going to have waves, the COVID, right? We don't know if, okay, everything opens up, and then some speculations out there that everything's going to close back down again, and then everything's going to open up. And, there's different theories. We don't have reality yet because we haven't lived it, but there's definitely theories out there, right? So
too many, yeah.
We're writing the textbook as we go along, as we keep saying. But I think you're right, is analyzing the data, getting your protocols, and then also, what if another major thing happens? It's not necessarily a pandemic, depending on where you live. What if tornado goes through, a hurricane happens, a massive snowstorm?
I remember last year we had those wildfires go through California, and we had rolling blackouts and nobody could go outside because of the smoke. I would have loved to have had a telehealth system in place at that point for a lot of those practices. So, yeah.
True, you're right. So, it's not just now, it's something to really think about for future times when the old normal, if that ever returns, it becomes our normal again, or what is this new normal? So I like it, but I'm a data cruncher too. So I'm all good about that, right?
Yeah, I get pretty nerdy about making Excel sheets, and I had at one point just an enormous Excel sheet tracking even each of our employees' happiness. And so I could see, Sally took 15 calls today, and Cheryl took 20. And, this was how comfortable they felt afterwards. So we could track and see just how many calls can a technician take and not be stressed out per hour. I mean, we had it down to, it was great. I loved it.
Well, that's kind of maybe a part of our marketing to self today, is also take this time to see how your team's doing. Yeah. Are they burnt out? Do they need an extra day off? Why don't you give it to them? Where can you recharge the batteries right now during the lull, so that when we get slammed again, because I'm pretty sure that's coming. I don't know what it looks like, but I'm pretty sure it's coming. Then everybody's on a full bandwidth to tackle the what's next, fill in the blank. But it's just time to retreat and just take a moment, Maybe have a piece of chocolate, your favorite beverage, right? That could be different for everybody. And just kind of decide what are we going to do here for self-care for not only you, but for your team, right?
Yep.
Because there's a sense of just keeping going, but you'll eventually run yourself into the ground and be no good for anybody. And that's productive, right? Yep. So I would recommend this lull to do that now. Enjoy it, take a nap, do what you never need to do, because the switch will be flipped and we'll be gone. So
yeah. Yep, absolutely.
All right, well, thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Enjoy your sunshine.
Thanks, you too.